Good evening, everybody. Welcome to preseason edition of Wizards Outlook. Played their very first preseason game tonight. Took on the Brooklyn Nets. The Washington Wizards clearly, for those that don't know, they weren't at full strength tonight in terms of they were missing Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Davis Bertans. The Nets, while KD and Kyrie did play, Karis LeVert didn't play. So that said, the Nets did pull out the win, 119-114. Joined by Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., and Wilson Tarpe Jr. And we're going to go ahead and just share some initial thoughts. And then, Cardell, I know you took part in the post-game. If you want to share, actually, let's start there. You took part of the post-game. If you want to share what you got from Coach Brooks and Denny.
Scott Brooks was just like, he was happy that they played hard, just they competed, that they weren't in awe of guys. And that's what he was looking for. It's preseason. You experiment. You just trying to see where guys are at. And he said he thought overall the effort as a team was great. He loved the effort. It's just about being consistent. Everybody's excited for the first game. He said obviously that first quarter, the Nets jumped out on crazy. Dropping nearly 40 in the quarter. But he, it was nerves. That's what he said. He felt like it was nerves from the young guy. But once they settled down, started playing basketball, you saw the difference. And, I know a lot of people, last year was kind of saying, hating whenever it's always criticism. This is the new word is hate nowadays. But we saw last season compared to what we just saw this game, it's night and day from the effort and competing defensively. It's not even close. So that tells you when that a lot of, no disrespect, a lot of NBA players be BSing on that defensive end. And, that's just something that they have to, just stay consistent with. Obviously, they didn't have two key players on the perimeter. But, Brooks, like I said, Brooks liked what he saw, man. We're going to get more into it as we go as far as what each individual player did in his eyes. But overall, he was pleased. Oh, and as for Denny, Denny did say when he first got on the floor, he wasn't all. He's like, oh, whoa. He was like, whoa, like it's here, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, it's real. Like, you know what I'm saying? And Barkley said it's real. He did say a reaction at first, but he said as he went up and down the floor, he settled down and he threw. He realized that it's just basketball. One thing he emphasized from day one, he's competitive, and he said post game, I'm not scared of anyone. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to compete and do the best I can. He said, don't expect me to be perfect from the field every game. But, he's confident. He feel he could do some things. And he also touched on his vision, the passing ability. He was just like, man, I can see everybody on the floor, man. Like, I saw Rui in the corner. I saw Nato sliding down on the elbow. I can see everybody. So so those passes don't really shock me. And he was just happy to get his first NBA game out the way, man. He harped on the journey. He said 4 years ago, I played my first pro game. I only scored 1 point. You know what I mean? So it's a long way from that time where it was like, man, this is hard. Working up constantly with my friends while we're having fun, working. And now here we are. So he's just trying to stay locked in so he could be consistent with performances like what we saw tonight.
All right. So if we just want to share initial thoughts on tonight's game, Ray, we can start with you.
Man, I enjoyed it. It was very entertaining for a preseason game. Cardell brought up the effort. The few times we sat in the studio and watched the games, that was one of the constant themes, their lack of effort on defense. And it, like you said, it was night and day. I know it's just one preseason game, but that says a lot to give that type of effort in in a preseason game. If they can continue that, they'll be successful because offense wasn't the problem. It wasn't the problem last year, and and they still in this first contest look like they're pretty sharp on that end still. So yeah, man, that was one of the things that we were stressing when we talked about them, that they need to improve. And just one game in, it looks like it's a totally different attitude on that end of the floor with pretty much the same group. Of course, Russell didn't play, but just his presence and his leadership, I'm sure it injected some new energy into them. But But yeah, man, it wasn't a bad showing. You know, even when the game was kind of out of hand, I didn't feel like they were playing bad defense. The Nets was just cooking, and sometimes there's really nothing you could do about it. But overall, man, they look good. Rui looked strong. He looked more confident and aggressive. He was hitting his outside shots. You know, and that's something he even talked about wanting to improve from last year. And then he looked good in his first game. You know, they were content with leaving him open, and you know, he showed he can hit the shot. And if people gonna have to start closing out hard on him, they're gonna be at his mercy. You know, with the skill set that he has. So yeah, man. You know, I'm not gonna write the book on a whole season from one preseason game, but you know, they look good, man. It's okay to celebrate the small wins. You know, even though they didn't come out with the victory, but you know, they look good as a unit. And you know, I'm excited, man. Looking forward to see what else they got this year.
Gardo?
Oh, no doubt, man. Like it's preseason, but the Wizards need to take wins, man. You know, they got to take some positive because last year was tough. You know, it was bad. We're not even gonna sugarcoat that. It was just, and that's one thing with the NBA on any team, on any level, basketball. All you really ask for, and you shouldn't have to ask for, is say you have to, but just compete. Give me everything you got. Then we can try to navigate talent level and skill work and all that. But if you ain't giving me everything you got, I'm not quite sure what you are. I just know you're a little lazy, so I'm gonna be turned off from the get-go. So that's just something that you know, we saw. But overall, man, once they like you said, Raymond, they once, you know, that barrage from KD and Kyrie, because they've been out for a minute. So they was excited to get back and just against another team. Once the barrage went away a little bit, so to speak, and the Wizards settled down, you can see that it's a lot more talent and it's a lot more professionalism. Not saying, and I don't want nobody to take this like it's a shot at Wall or something like that, because it's not even about him. It's just about these young players realizing and it's realizing that it's a business. If they could trade a franchise player, if I don't play well, if I don't bring it, then I'm definitely gone. You know, I'm about it here. So I think that kind of shook them up even more so than when Russ came coming, because it's just like they're not playing, and you know they're not playing now. They got rid of our franchise guy for 10 years. So if I don't bring it, I'm not up to par. I'm out of here. And you see how they playing, man. You just see a bunch of young, hungry guys that's eager to prove, and that's what they did. But the thing I'm most impressed by, a lot of players got better. I saw Rui. They've been saying all training camp. He got more arc on it. Y'all gonna see. And he up there confident as hell. Shout out to David Atkins for getting his jumper right. You know what I'm saying? Getting it better. We was there with Wilson doing training camp when he was a rookie, and he's starting with form, shooting in front of the rim, trying to just working his art. And it's been steady progress to dang near a year later. He's efficient 3-point shooting in a year. Well, last year, I think he shot 28% from three. That's these volumes of work ethic and all that he has. He got stronger. You saw it. Last year, he wasn't going up and tracking and dunking one hand. Now it's like, yeah. So you got that expands that scouting report a little bit. I love what Denny brought, you know, the all-around game, runners, being at 6'9", pushing the ball up the floor, understanding time management and whatnot, getting that runner off right before the half or whatnot, and not forcing things. You know what I'm saying? I know he probably had shots that normally overseas he probably would have took, but he's still feeling himself. I was just like the teammates. Troy Brown looked better. Isaac Bonga, I mean, I think he blocked the KD jumper. You know what I'm saying? Like who the hell got that? Like that's you know, KD. You can see KD play well, but he's not fully KD yet. You know what I'm saying? He ain't still got that lift and burst that he quite normally has. Like on the break when I forgot who ran him down, hit him from behind, and he missed the layup. That's a dunk when he's fully back. That's easy. You know, just things like that, man. That Cassius Winston, his play down the stretch to keep the Wizards close to get them within range of trying to win the game, which I expect out of him because I know who he come from. He come from Izzo, and they tough, and he's been in big games before. It just shows you that as an organization, the Wizards are moving in the right direction, man. And you got to give Tommy Shepard and those guys credit. His scouting. I mean, look, Denny, Rui, those weren't, even though Denny was projected to be a top 5 pick, those weren't guys coming into the draft that a lot of people are eyeing as far as like, we hope the Wizards get them. But he stuck to his guns. He got those guys, good character guys, and it's paying off, man. they bringing in professional guys that could play basketball. Raul Neto, I mean, solid as they come. He don't make mistakes. All he gonna do is give you pluses when he's on the floor, man. Mo Wagner had good minutes, man. It was just that's what I'm enthusiastic about. They play hard, they made plays, and they play basketball, and this is something they could take forward. Knowing that each and every game they got a chance to win. This is without their two best guys, and obviously Bertans too. So and with this talent influx, it's pushing other guys because like, dog, if you ain't bringing it, this other guy gonna take your minutes. And Scott Brooks has no issue with giving certain guys minutes they've already played. If you don't want to play, fine. Whereas years prior, he had to deal with that mess and play certain guys because they didn't have the talent and they had to win games. So now he don't have to deal with that no more. So it's definitely some strong optimism to keep with the Wizards moving forward, man. We just gotta see if they want to stay consistent, or if they have a few good games or something, then take their foot off the gas, so to speak. But we'll see, man. But yeah, overall, I'm impressed by what I saw tonight.
Yeah, just some of the things, to piggyback off what you both said. This kind of feels like for the first time since Brooks been here, like even early, it's only one game, but just the vibes you've had just being around him. Cardell, I'm sure you can attest to this if I'm off base or in the ballpark with this one. It feels like this group reflects his personality. It's a hardworking, gritty group. And not just a couple players. Where in the past it was one or two guys, maybe three. If you're lucky, four. This feels like up and down the roster. This is who this group wishes to be. I like that they kept fighting the entire game, as you both mentioned. Kyrie and KD will cook, man. And you're gonna have those moments. The fact that you kind of like just ignored it and kept plugging away. That's even if you were shell shocked, we've seen Wizards team in the past. Could have been shell shocked. That would have been it for the night.
Yep.
You didn't mail it in. You kept playing. They go out. No disrespect to the guys that come in. KD and Kyrie aren't. That's not what's coming off the bench. If they're both going to the bench, and they kept plugging away. I loved how they opened the third quarter. Like the first 7 minutes of the third quarter was outstanding. It all started with defense, which is it's like a new thing here to see it happen on that end consistently. To stack stops, get out and run. Another thing that jumped off the screen. I love the balanced scoring tonight, but it's there's so many more natural playmakers on the roster.
Yeah.
Where in the past, almost one or two guys were solely responsible for setting everybody's, setting the table for everybody. You got guys like you mentioned, Cardell with Denny. It's not that it's something he's working hard to do. It's comfortably part of his game to have his head up. Like you said, see the floor, all those things we saw. He got the ball, he got a small on him. Let me survey the floor real quick before I do what I need to do. Rui's aggressiveness, Winston, even the young guy came in late, Childs. I just like
Childs.
Yeah, just purely his energy. Kind of just feeding with what the kids on this roster have. And you already know they're gonna play with an edge. I like the fact that they play with this type of edge without Russ and Brad playing. It's easier to play with an edge when Russ is on the court, because it's kind of like the parents are there, right? They weren't on the court tonight. So we got to see how you went about your business without them. As for Brooklyn, just KD and Kyrie are what we thought they were going to be. Last year when they got together, it was fun to see them. Like Cardell said, KD's he's not full blown KD yet, but it was fun just seeing him back out there doing things that resemble his old self. I like the length and size on their roster, and their group competed too. It was fun, just pleasantly refreshing, like you guys mentioned from last year, watching teams not compete fully, regardless of who was on the floor. These two teams were going at it, so thoroughly enjoyed it. And then just not youngsters, but I guess kind of, I don't even want to say sleepers, but guys that don't get enough recognition. That probably don't get enough recognition on the net size. I like Perry, the activity he had tonight. You look at a box score, you're not going to be like, he set the world on fire, like the activity. Timothy, I always mess up his last name. I like his steady growth. It's fun seeing Chioza again. But yeah, that's all I really had. Did you guys have anything? I know their next game isn't until Thursday, but any final thoughts from this one?
Yeah, shout out to Garrison Matthews. He always back and forth with the go-go. He came and gave him a spark with some great deep range shooting. The little step back on Jeff Green, all Jeff could do was laugh. You could tell that means they had a few exchanges in practice and stuff like that. Last, before he got traded a couple years back or whatnot. But like I said, man, if they keep this type of intensity up as far as competing every night, they'll be fine. And then you're gonna have them two horses on your team to close things out, keep them close. Like this is a game that Russ and those guys would have definitely try to pull it out. And that's the thing. That's what we got to see now, because now guys are comfortable. You got to see how they mesh with Bill and Russ and stuff like that. But overall, it was great. And like you said, on the Brooklyn side of things, it was good to see those guys get back on the floor. Kyrie looked like he in all-star form anyway, the way he was cooking. He the reason why that big-ass league got the way it is. Hey, dog, shake his hand. It ain't nothing much else you could do. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's just not them, man. Like I was messaging Wilson. I'm like, they just giving other teams, a path to the championship possibly, and not even including these guys. And I'm just like, if they healthy, I mean, they on fire. Like LeVert didn't even play. You know what I'm saying? That's you got Dinwiddie come off. You literally got about 4 or 5 players on that roster that average 20 plus. I mean, dang, like, look, let's be for real. Kyrie and KD are 30-point scores. That's 60 between 2 plays. You know what I'm saying? And you're not really stopping them. So, I mean, it's going to be exciting, man, because that's what I'm saying. This year going to be the most exciting year in years, because there's so many teams that literally have a chance, that literally got a shot. So, it's going to be fun to see, man. But I'm looking forward to Thursday when Bill and Russ suit up and see how all these guys mesh.
Right.
Yeah, that was my thing. I just want to see what they look like, with the whole cavalry out there. That it was the way they competed. It was great to see, man. And I can only, like you said earlier, Wilson, like it can only intensify once Russ and Bill get out there, because if they got that type of energy without those guys, when they're on the floor with them, it can't help but be contagious. Especially seeing as how it seems to have already rubbed off. Just in a short training camp and one preseason game. But yeah, man, if I just want to see if they can keep it up or anything close to this, because if they can, then it's going to be a one of their best years in a while. They put together 48 minutes. And that's rare for that group. But yeah, man, I'm cautiously optimistic. It's no reason why they shouldn't be able to keep this up. I'm not looking for them to win 50 games or make some type of super dramatic turnaround, but I do expect them to be much better than they were last year in regards to just competing and being consistent and trying to play winning basketball.
And before we close out, they already met the bar to that degree from last year in terms of just coming out and compete for 48 tonight. I can't really honestly think on one hand how many times we saw that last season, if any. If any. Not to be too mean, but I can't recall a full 48 minutes where we saw them scrapping like this as a unit, not just a couple folks as a unit. Like Cardo mentioned earlier, I'm just here. Obviously, we know what Ross and Brad could be. It'd be fun to see how everything meshes with all the kids mesh with them, as you guys mentioned. And I'm just here for the steady growth. You mentioned Rui earlier. Looks like a totally different kid already. Year or two, how confident he is, like you said. And I like the size they have on the wings. There's a couple of times where you saw the bigger kids in Rui and Denny get smalls on them and go to work. So again, it was fun just seeing this. It's one small step on a long journey of this year. We will see you guys Thursday for Wizards.
One more thing. Shout out Troy Bryant. He protected the paint, improved 3-point shooting. He's shooting that top of the key 3 with no hesitation, man. Like I said, it's little improvements that last year you'd have been like, oh man. And you're like, okay. Oh, so you got that in your game. Cool. So, like I said, just keep competing and good things can happen. And they've been mentioning quietly, subliminally, they're eyeing the playoffs. And looking at if they could bring what they brought tonight, just clean up some things, they got a shot to fight for that 7th and 8th seed for sure.
No doubt. We want to thank you guys for hanging with us. We'll see you Tuesday night for Focus TV. We'll see you Thursday night again for this, which is Wizards Outlook. Thanks for joining us. Ricardo Dudley, Raymond Lyons, and Wilson Tarpey Jr. See you guys soon.